SpaceX has a long history with NASA and has recently been awarded another contract. NASA's Sentinel 6B satellite will be launched by the space exploration company for approximately $94 million. The satellite will be launched into orbit atop a Falcon 9 rocket. The mission will launch from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California's Space Launch Complex 4E. Welcome to Smarter Tech, and in this video, we'll take a look at everything you need to know about SpaceX's new Sentinel 6B contract and latest updates. SpaceX has been awarded a contract to launch the Sentinel 6B Raider satellite, a joint US-European project, as early as November 2025. NASA also chose SpaceX to launch Sentinel 6A, the first of two identical satellite systems designed to use radar altimeters to more accurately determine global sea levels than ever before. NASA awarded SpaceX $94 million to launch the 1.1-ton to a comparatively small 1,300-kilometer orbit in October 2017, just half a year after SpaceX's first Falcon 9 rocket booster reuse and well before the cost savings that resulted were fully factored in. NASA has awarded SpaceX $97 million to launch a nearly identical satellite to the same orbit from the same launch facility, with the same rocket 5 years and 2 months later. SpaceX, on the other hand, is not the same company it was in 2017 and has mastered Falcon booster and payload fairing reuse in the half-decade since. SpaceX has repurposed Falcon boosters on 130 launches since March 2017, including sensitive US military missions and NASA astronaut launches. SpaceX has launched nearly 70 internal Starlink missions, carrying over 3,600 SpaceX-built satellites without going bankrupt. Elon Musk has stated that the marginal cost of a Falcon 9 launch with flight-proven hardware is only $15 million, while another executive has stated that the total cost of a Falcon 9 launch with flight-proven hardware is $28 million. Most notably, SpaceX was awarded a contract in 2019 to launch NASA's tiny IXPE X-ray telescope on Falcon 9 for only $15 million. In December 2021, SpaceX completed the mission by launching the 330-kilogram spacecraft into a 600-kilometer orbit. IXPE was supposed to launch on Aerojet Rocketdyne's troubled air-launched Pegasus XL rocket, which most recently launched a small NASA spacecraft for about $55 million. That may be the best explanation for why SpaceX and its executives, who have repeatedly stated that the company's goal is to radically reduce the cost of orbital launches, don't feel pressure to translate those significant cost reductions into significant price cuts. Simply put, despite the fact that SpaceX has openly discussed its plans for more than a decade, no rocket on Earth can match Falcon 9's combination of performance, cadence, reliability, and affordability. In the absence of even a smidgen of competitive pressure from the other players in the industry, particularly for contracts limited in the US market, SpaceX appears to have decided that the profits from charging as much as feasible outweigh the cynicism those actions could convey. To SpaceX's credit, the reality is more ambiguous than some of the limited data might suggest. SpaceX has released an updated version of its rideshare program, allowing even more small satellite operators to launch their spacecraft into orbit for extremely low prices. Furthermore, after 5 years of inflation, SpaceX's $94 million Sentinel 6A contract is worth around $114 million today, implying that its $97 million Sentinel 6B launch contract represents a modest 15% discount. SpaceX's main competitors, ULA and Arianespace, would almost certainly have charged tens of millions of dollars further to launch Sentinel 6A or 6B on their current or next-generation rockets. However, SpaceX's existing rockets have no spare capacity for new contracts, and their new Vulcan and Ariane 6 rockets have yet to fly, leaving the company without any real competition. To be sure, Falcon 9 rideshare customers and SpaceX's own Starlink constellation appears to be the only major beneficiaries of the Falcon 9's extraordinary newfound affordability. With potential competitors such as Rocket Lab's Neutron, Relativity's Terran R, Blue Origin's New Glenn, and ULA's semi-reusable Vulcan variant all still years away from market entry, this is unlikely to change until the mid to late 2020s. Until then, even though SpaceX pricing is unlikely to revolutionize others' access to space, Falcon 9 will remain an exceptionally affordable and accessible option for all launch customers, including NASA and the European Space Agency. By the way, if you're watching us for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can enjoy our future videos while getting updated. Coming back to the topic, the satellites form the Sentinel 6 JSON-CS mission, which ESA developed as part of the European Copernicus program led by the European Commission, EUMETSAT, NASA, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, with funding from the European Commission and technical support from France's National Center for Space Studies. NASA's Launch Services program at Florida's Kennedy Space Center is in charge of managing the SpaceX launch services. The project office for Sentinel 6B is located at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. SpaceX has successfully launched NASA's Imaging X-ray Polarimetry Explorer telescope, allowing for unprecedented exploration of a unique aspect of black holes, a variety of dead stars, and other strange phenomena. The Falcon 9 booster B-1061 lifted off at 1 a.m. EST to begin the 330 kg IXP spacecraft's journey to orbit, marking the first time a NASA payload has launched on the fifth flight of a repurposed SpaceX rocket. The workhorse rocket from SpaceX performed flawlessly. The upper stage of the Falcon 9 completed the first of two planned burns, entering a low parking orbit just over 8 minutes after liftoff. About 30 seconds later, Falcon 9 B-1061 made its fifth drone ship landing in 13 months, capping off another successful high-profile launch for the booster and ensuring that it will be capable of completing many more in the coming years. After completing the first stage of the launch, Falcon 9's upper stage coasted in orbit for about 20 minutes before igniting for one final burn to place IXPE in its desired orbit. The maneuver, known as a planar inclination change, is extremely expensive, requiring an unnaturally large amount of launch vehicle performance, especially when executed deep in a large gravitational well. The reason is that IXP's nominal orbit is almost exactly equatorial, which the Falcon 9 launch site in Cape Canaveral is about 28.5 degrees north of. After launch, lowering the inclination requires a very energetic maneuver. Prior to Falcon 9, IXP was expected to launch an orbital ATK's air-launched Pegasus XL rocket, which would have permitted IXPE to be launched at the equator. However, despite the fact that the Falcon 9 is more than 20 times larger and could potentially launch an entire Pegasus XL into orbit, SpaceX ultimately submitted a bid to launch IXPE for only $50 million, making it less expensive than its competitor. But with Falcon 9 designed to launch nearly 23 tons into orbit in an expendable configuration and more than 16 tons with booster and fairing recovery, it can only launch about 1 to 2 tons to IXP's desired equatorial inclination and 600-kilometer orbit. Finally, Falcon 9 completed the inclination change without incident, completing its first equatorial launch at SpaceX's 28th successful launch in 2021 alone. Unlike the vast majority of spacecraft, IXPE was launched directly into operational orbit and will likely require only a few days to fine-tune its position before ground controllers can verify the health of all systems and deploy a 4-meter-long boom required to operate its unique telescope. If and when everything is operational, IXPE will spend at least 2 years observing at least 50 of the universe's strangest objects and phenomena. While many of those objects cannot be imaged directly, IXPE's goal is to analyze the polarization of X-rays, high-energy beams of radiation, and sensitivities 2 orders of magnitude greater than any previous experiment. In theory, this should allow IXPE to test long-held laws of relativity and quantum physics in some of the universe's most extreme environments, particularly exotic nebulae, black holes, and bizarre neutron stars such as lighthouse-like pulsars and magnetars, dead stars with magnetic fields strong enough to constrict atoms into cylindrical rods and cause the actual vacuum of space to refract light like a crystal. And with that being said, it's time to end our video. Before that, we'd like to know what are your thoughts about the future of SpaceX. Let us know in the comments. Like this video and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We'll see you in the next one.